Am I audible now? Am I audible? Ankita, am I audible? Good morning, dears. I think now I am audible. I am audible now. So the thing is, let's start. Let me. So welcome to Super Coaching of UPSC by Textbook. And today we meet here to discuss one of the very important topic of Indian economy, that is exchange rate system. So first we will try to understand that what is meaning of exchange rate system. Then we will discuss the types of exchange rate system. There are three types. After that we will discuss the advantages of exchange rate system, different type of that means advantages of different type of exchange rate system. After that we will also discuss the disadvantages, and that will finish our topic. So let's start our today's session. So when we talk about the exchange rate system, so the meaning of exchange rate system is that a mechanism or a system through which the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency is determined. So that means what is the value of domestic currency, that is rupee, in terms of foreign currency, that may be dollar, that may be pound, that may be sterling, that may be ramblin, whatever it may be. So what is the value of rupee in terms of foreign currency, that is known as exchange rate system, that is known as exchange rate system. So we can say that exchange rate system is that what is the rate of 1 unit of domestic currency is exchanged with the number of units of currency another. Suppose the value of that $1 is equal to 82 rupees. So meaning is that in order to get $1 we have to spend 82 rupees. That is the meaning of that. What is the value, how much currency we need to exchange in order to get one currency of one foreign currency. That is the meaning of exchange rate system. Definitely we will discuss, but after the class. Just give me how to revise, that means focus on the make your short notes and just revise it. Okay, like I am talking about the exchange rate system, so you have to mention that value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency, that much. Then types, only three types. Then advantages, disadvantage. So that means make your short notes and revise it as many times as you can. And we will also discuss that how to that means we will discuss the strategy for dealing with the economy, and in that session I will deal in detail. Okay, so don't worry Ankita, we will discuss it. But here currently we are talking about the that is currently we are talking about the lecture. So just focus on lecture. I will definitely I will. Okay, so the thing is, I think it is very clear that what is the meaning of exchange rate system. Now we are going to proceed further and we are going to discuss the types of exchange rate system. So when we talk about the types of exchange rate system, there are three types of exchange rate system. One is the fixed exchange rate system, other is the floating exchange rate system, other is managed float exchange rate system. And this managed float exchange rate system is a type of the floating exchange rate system only, but we can divide it separately as well. So we will discuss all these systems that in detail, and we will also discuss the advantages and disadvantages of all these exchange rate system. So let's start. So when we talk about fixed exchange rate system, what is the meaning of fixed exchange rate system? The meaning of fixed exchange rate system is that the central monetary authority is going to fix the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Okay, that means central monetary authority. And who is central monetary authority in case of India? It is RBI. So that means under the fixed exchange rate system, RBI is going to fix the value of domestic currency, that is rupee, in terms of value of foreign currency. It may be dollar, it may be pound, it may be sterling. Earlier it used to be in respect to dollar. So that means RBI fixed the value of domestic currency, that is rupee, in terms of dollar, that was known as fixed exchange rate system, and we will discuss that how it developed. Okay, so that means the thing is, the fixed means the central monetary authority is going to fix the value, okay, in terms of dollar. That is known as fixed exchange rate system. So what happen in case of fixed exchange rate system, and when there is decrease in the value of, please try to understand, when there is decrease in the value of domestic currency, in terms of foreign currency, it was known as devaluation. Under the fixed exchange rate system, if there is decrease, that means central monetary authority is going to decrease the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency intentionally. That was known as devaluation. When central monetary authority intentionally increases the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency, that was known as revaluation. So that means devaluation is decrease in the value of domestic currency under the fixed exchange rate system, whereas revaluation is increase in value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency under the fixed exchange rate system. So that means, please let me rub it and let me repeat it once again. That means there are two words, and these words are known as depreciation and appreciation when it is in case of flexible or floating exchange rate system. So there is two words, one is devaluation, other is revaluation. What is the meaning of devaluation? That means central monetary authority is going to decrease. Suppose $1 equal to suppose 60 rupees or 46 rupees or 80 rupees. Suppose $1 equal to 80 rupees. Now intentionally that central monetary authority is going to decrease, and it is going to fix $1 equal to 85 rupees. So that is nothing but decrease in the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Okay, so that was, if it is fixed exchange rate system, meaning central monetary authority is intentionally decreasing the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency, it is known as devaluation. Whereas there is increase, suppose $1 equal to 80 rupees, and it increases the value of $1 reduced to that is 79 rupees or 75 rupees. So that is nothing but increase in the value of domestic currency, and it is, if it is fixed exchange rate system, meaning central monetary authority is intentionally increasing, then it is known as revaluation. Whereas same process when it is being done by market forces, that is under the flexible or floating exchange rate system, that is known as depreciation and appreciation. We will discuss, don't worry, but here try to understand it. So why, the question is, why the central monetary authority devaluate their currency? Why central monetary authority devaluate their currency? Because what happened? Because of devaluation, that means what happened? Our exports. The question is, anyone? Why central monetary authority intentionally decrease the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency? Anyone? I am asking you people in comment section, because I already discussed it. Although I discussed it, but I will again discuss. But if there is anyone who can, let me know. So the Why Central Monetary Authority devaluate value? Because it makes our export competitive. It makes our export competitive. That means it increases our export. Why? Because by paying earlier, by paying 80 rupees, the foreigners, by paying 80 rupees, that means by paying $1, earlier foreigners was able to get the goods and services from India equal to the value of 80 rupees. Now by paying only $1, they will be in position to get the goods and services of 85 rupees equal to the value of 85 rupees. That's why when there is devaluation or depreciation in the value of domestic currency, our product becomes competitive in the international market. That's why it motivates our export. Whereas when there is devaluation, when there is, let me rub it first. When there is devaluation, it makes our imports expensive. It makes our imports expensive. That's why it demotivates our imports. That means in conclusion we can say that when there is devaluation, that means it motivates our export and it demotivates our imports. That's why it strengthens our current account. It strengthens our current account. As a result, it strengthens our BOP. It strengthens our BOP. Good morning, dear. Good morning. Rabi, you are late, dear. Again, the time is 8:30, my dears. Okay, let me. So what happened? Why? When there is our imports, why our imports become expensive? Our imports become expensive. Why? What happens? Suppose that means by paying earlier, that means suppose that $1 equal to 80 rupees, and if there is depreciation, what is the meaning? That is there is devaluation. That means value is $1 equal to 85 rupees. So how our imports become expensive? We are going to discuss that thing. That means earlier when we were importing the product of $1, we have to pay only 80 rupees. Now because of depreciation, in order to get the value, the goods and services of $1 equal to the value of $1, we have to pay 85 rupees. We have to pay 85 rupees. That means imports have become expensive. Imports have become expensive. That's why it will demotivate the producer to import more from the foreign country. That's why when there is devaluation, it is theoretically, we discussed it. So when there is devaluation, it motivates our exports, means it increase our exports and it decrease our imports. That's why as a result our current account balance improves. That means our current account situation improves. As a result, our BOP situation also strengthens. So that's why. That means in case of fixed exchange rate system, there is devaluation, and we understood that what is the meaning of it. Okay, so that there is 4 words. One is devaluation, other is revaluation, other is, let me rub it, other is depreciation, other is appreciation. So that means this devaluation and revaluation is, this is decrease in the value of domestic currency, and it is increase in the value of domestic currency under the fixed exchange rate system. Under the fixed exchange, meaning Central Monetary Authority is going to decrease or increase the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Domestic currency in terms of foreign currency. Similarly, when we talk about depreciation and appreciation, that means this is depreciation is again decrease in the value of domestic currency, and appreciation is increase in the value of domestic currency, but it is under the flexible or floating exchange rate system. Floating exchange rate system. That means by the market forces, that is demand and supply. We will discuss how it happened. Demand and supply. So the birds, that means process is same, but birds are different. Okay. So that means when there is decrease under the fixed, then it is known as devaluation. If there is increase under the fixed, it is known as revaluation. Similarly, when there is decrease under the floating exchange rate system, it is known as depreciation. If there is increase in the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency, it is known as appreciation, but exchange rate system is flexible or floating. So I think it is very clear. So what happened, that is, let me rub it, then we are going to discuss that how it developed and what is the, how we used to fix the value of domestic, that means value of domestic currency in other foreign currency. What was the scenario and how there was determination of value. We are going to discuss that thing. So I think it is very clear. So I think it is very clear. Okay, now we are going to discuss that how that means how we were fixing the value of currencies with respect to other currencies. Okay, so that means from 1970 to 1914 we were having gold standard. Okay, for fixing the value of one currency in terms of another currency, we were using the gold. As the parity. Okay, and that was known as gold standard system. Okay, gold standard system. Don't worry, we will understand how it happens and why it happens. Don't worry, but and why it collapsed. We will discuss that thing also. But the thing is, first try to understand that the thing is fixed. It is going to be fixed. So that means it is going to be fixed on the basis of gold. Okay, on the basis of gold. That's why it was known as gold standard system, and that we followed from 1970 to First World War, till the First World War. Okay, and it is collapsed because of the First World War, and why it collapsed we will discuss. Don't worry. But the thing is that how it happens. Suppose USA is going to print a currency. If US has the 14 gram of reserves, please try to understand it. If US has the 14 gram of gold reserve, US is going to print $1. Okay, whereas on the other hand, if UK has that means suppose 70 gram of gold, US has 70 gram of gold, it is going to print 1 pound. sterling. So what is going to be the exchange rate system of USA in respect to, what is going to be exchange rate system of USA in respect to UK? It is going to be 70 upon 40 equal to 5. That means the value of $1 equal to 5 pound. And how they are fixing? They are fixing on the basis of gold. That means on the basis of their reserves, they are also going to print one currency of their respective that means currencies, and on the basis of that we are going to calculate that what is going to be the value. of one currency in terms of another currency. Is it making sense? Is it making sense? I think it is clear. Okay. And similarly, if India has, it may be for India that it may be for India, suppose 140 gram equal to 1 rupees. That means on having 140 gram of gold reserve, we are going to print 1 rupee. So what is going to be the value of Indian rupee in terms of dollar? It is going to be 1 upon 10. Or it is what is going to be the value of USA dollar in terms of rupee? It is going to be $1 equal to 10 rupees. That was the scenario when we fixed the exchange rate system with gold standard, and we followed this system. We followed this system up to First World War. Up to First World War. We does not mean that international community at large, that all nations followed this system till First World War. Okay, and we were British colony at that time. So the thing is, now when that means that was known as gold standard system. That system collapsed. That system collapsed because of Second World War. Okay, because of Second World War, that means just to have there was war race, and that means finance the war. Okay, to finance the war expenditure, country want to print the currencies. Country want to print the currency, but they can print the currency only when they have the gold reserves. Only when they have the gold reserves. And this is, gold is the finite commodity. It cannot have unlimited reserves. Okay, why they want to print more currency? That means they want to print more currency just to finance the expenditure of Second World War. Sorry, First World War, not Second World War. Okay, so but what happened? The country was having finite source of gold. That's why they abandoned this system, or international community abandoned this system, and we came with the new system that is known as Bretton Woods system. So what was the system under the Bretton Woods? Let me explain once again. That means under this system, the US allow full convertibility of gold in respect to dollar. That means we already know that USA was the superpower, and US is superpower, is still superpower. And why they are superpower? Because they have the economic guts, or they have economic resources. That USA is most advanced country. So the thing is, that means under the Bretton Woods system, and this Bretton Woods system was supervised by IMF, International Monetary Fund. So what was the system and how it was that means took place, and how the countries was fixing? That means it was not countries, Central Monetary Authority, rather it was fixed by the International Monetary Fund. Okay, and how this system was, we are going to discuss. Okay, that means the USA allow their currencies fully convertible in respect to dollar. In respect to dollar, they allow full convertibility of dollar. What is the meaning of it? That means they fix that $35 equal to 1 ounce of gold. They fix the value of their dollar. That means by having $35, the peoples or the countries were in position to get 1 ounce of gold. 1 ounce of gold from USA. By exchanging 35 rupees, that means 1 gram. Value of 1 gram of gold is equal to 1 upon $35. Okay, that means they fix the value of their dollar in terms of, or International Monetary Fund fix the value of US dollar in terms of gold. International, under this system, International Monetary Fund fix the value of US currency, that is dollar, in terms of gold. And they said that by, that means on $35, on exchange of $35, you can get 1 ounce of gold from whom? USA. Okay, but what happened? That was, and accordingly, IMF fixed the value of other countries' currency in terms of dollar. That means they fix the value of one, that means value of 1 gram dollar, 1 gram gold is equal to 135. Okay, and accordingly IMF fixed the exchange rate of each country's currency with respect to dollar. Okay, that system is known as Bretton Woods system. That system, so that means IMF was the supervisory, okay, was doing the supervision under the Bretton Woods exchange rate system, or a Bretton Woods system. That was the fixed exchange rate system. So the value was fixed by the International Monetary Authority, that was known as IMF, International Monetary Fund. So this was on the basis, and this was on the basis of the promise of the USA, that by exchanging 35 rupees, that means every country, each and every country is entitled to get 1 ounce of gold. Accordingly they can, that means 1 gram, value of 1 gram is equal to 1 upon $35. So that accordingly the IMF fixed the exchange rate system, or exchange that value of each and every country with respect to dollar. That was known as Bretton Woods system. But this system, we also abandoned this system because of US president, the then US president. And that is, before that, let me tell you, there is something which is known as Triffin dilemma. Although it is not needed, but they may ask any time. That means, please try to understand why we abandoned this system and why we shift to the floating exchange rate system. Why international community that means forced to adopt the floating exchange rate system. So there was drawback of this system. And what was the drawback? That is known as Triffin dilemma, or Triffin dilemma. And there was USA economist, Mr. Triffin, and he said, and that's why it is known as Triffin dilemma. So what was the scenario, and what it is, why we abandoned it? Please try to understand that Triffin, Mr. Triffin was of the opinion that gold is a finite commodity. So that means in future the value of gold will increase. That currently it is 35 rupees, $35 equal to 1 ounce. In future it may be $40 equal to 1 ounce. So that means the countries will exchange the gold. They will exchange the gold for dollar. It was promise of the USA. And they will exchange the gold with dollar, and they will sold out the dollar in open market to get profit. That's why it will not be feasible, it will not be feasible on the part of USA to fulfill the needs of every country in terms of dollar under the Bretton Woods system, and that was first time said by Triffin. That's why it is known as Triffin dilemma. What it is, please try to understand again. I am going to say repeat once again. What was the scenario? That as I said, that USA government promised under the Bretton Woods system, and that is known as full convertibility of dollar with respect to gold. That means they said that by having $35 we are entitled, that means any country can exchange the 1 ounce of gold with respect to $35. Okay, so the value of 1 gram of dollar is going to be 1 upon $35. So that was the scenario. But what happened, that Mr. Triffin said that in future the value of gold will increase, because demand of gold will increase, and gold is finite commodity. Since gold is a finite commodity, so what will be there? That means their demand will increase. So currently it may be the value of gold may be $35 equal to 1 ounce. In future it may be $45 equal to 1 ounce. So people will exchange that gold and they will demand for dollar, and they will demand for dollar, and in the open market they sold out the dollar, and because of that there will be, that means there will be instability or volatility in the value of US currency. So that's why we abandoned this system or international monetary, and most of the most important thing, that US president, they were having the armed war with USSR, then USSR, now it is known as Russia. Okay, they were having the armed war and they want to finance it, and they want to print more dollar, and they were not in position to print more dollar, because if they will print more dollar, the value of dollar will decrease. That's why we abandoned this system and we shifted to another system that is known as flexible exchange rate system. So but before that, let me tell you that what are the advantages and disadvantages. What are the advantages and disadvantages of fixed exchange rate system? Is it clear, dears? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt to anyone? Can we proceed further? Okay. So the thing is, we are going to discuss the advantages. The advantages are going to be that there is going to be stability, currency stability. Okay, that means there is not, that means because of market forces, that means the value is going to be determined on the, under the flexible, the value is going to be determined by market forces. So there can be depreciation or appreciation, but under the fixed, it is going to be fixed by the IMF. So there is going to be stability in the currency. Okay, value of currency. Since there is that means stability in the value of currency, there will be, that means there will not be any volatility in the market. Market will be stable. Not only this, it will encourage the private that foreign investment, because that foreign investment, when there is depreciation or appreciation, that suppose $1 equal to 80 rupees. Okay, now $1 equal to 85 rupees. Okay, so that is nothing but appreciation in the value of dollar and depreciation in the value of rupees. So because of that, that foreign investment either motivate or demotivate, but when there is stability, it will encourage, because they are going to get fixed value, fixed amount. Okay, so that's why they have the idea that how much they are going to, so that's why it will encourage the foreign investment. It will encourage the foreign investment. Not only this, that means since there is stability in market, there is stability in market, there is no volatility in market, so that means the prices in the market can also be controlled. Okay, there will not be too much fluctuation in the prices of the goods and services in the market because of stability in the currency, value of currency. Okay, so that's why there will be inflation will also be in control. But now we are going to discuss the disadvantages. We are going to discuss the disadvantages of fixed exchange rate system. So what is going to be disadvantage? First is that value of currency is overvalued or undervalued. Okay, because it is going to be fixed on the basis of the dollar. So that means it can be overvalued or it can be undervalued. If it is overvalued, it will that means decrease or this will destabilize our BOP. If it is overvalued, that means what is going to be, our value is appreciated. The value of domestic currency is not appreciated, rather revaluated. The value of domestic currency is revaluated. So our export will be demotivated and imports will be motivated. So that's why that will that means increase the current account deficit. That will increase the current account deficit. We discussed it. Okay, that will further widen or that means that will decrease our BOP situation. Okay, so that means if it is overvalued, okay, overvalue means the value of our currency is more, that means it is valued more in real sense. Okay, if it is undervalued, it will be beneficiary. So the thing is that because it is going to be fixed in respect to the foreign currency, so there is chances that it may be overvalued or it may be undervalued, and accordingly it may affect our BOP situation. Okay, so one thing is, this is the scenario. Other is that it violates the goal of having the open market. Okay, that means market system is considered to be more better because it works on the efficiency. It works on the efficiency. Okay, we will discuss when we will how it works on efficiency. So that means it violates the goals of efficient market. Okay, that means whenever there is going to be, when that means under, let me tell you let me tell you in short. Okay, that how the that means our market system is considered to be better. Why market system is considered to be better? Because of efficiency. Because in market system, the efficient forces leads. So we can say that it violates. Why there is, that means why when there is appreciation or depreciation in the value of currency, suppose in the flexible exchange rate system, we have flexible exchange rate system, and there is depreciation in the value of rupee. Suppose there is depreciation in the value of rupee. So why there is depreciation in the value of rupee? That we can say that depreciation in the value of rupee is nothing but appreciation in value of dollar. Or suppose $1 equal to 80 rupees. Now it is $1 equal to 85 rupees. So this is nothing but depreciation in the value of rupee, or it is nothing but appreciation in the value of dollar. So why there is appreciation? Because the value, anything is going to have increase in their value, because demand is more than supply. Demand of dollar is more than supply of dollar. Supply of dollar. And this demand will be only when there will be production. So that means on the basis of efficiency. So when that means this market forces, when the prices are being determined by the market forces is more efficient system. Okay, that's why that means it is better. That's why that means when we are adopting a fixed exchange rate system, Okay, it is violating the principle of efficiency. It is violating the principle of efficiency. That's why we amended it and we get the new system. And this system may be difficult to country. That means when there is, let me explain more clearly the third point. That means when there is there is depression or recession in the country, that means central monetary authority cannot accommodate, cannot take measures, too much measures to sort out the recession or depression. When there is, when there is fixed exchange rate system, that means country is following fixed exchange rate system, and there is recession. Recession means economic growth rate has reduced, economic growth rate has reduced, or there is negative economic growth rate, okay, and there is continuous, then it is known as depression. Okay, so what is going to be if there is recession? How we discussed that, how we deal with recession, that public expenditure should be increased. In order to deal with recession, the public expenditure should be increased. Public expenditure should be increased. And how public? That means government should have the resources. That means government should have the currency. But when we are talking about the fixed exchange rate system, government has the limited currency, because they cannot print. They can print when they have the dollars or they have the gold. And this recessionary condition can be dealt only when there is public expenditure. So public, that means government cannot make expenditure because they do not have the currency, because they have limited currency. Why they have limited currency? Because of this fixed exchange rate system. In order to print currency, they have to have the gold, and gold is a finite resources. So biggest drawback was, when there is depression or there is recession, the government cannot take sufficient measures to deal with recession, because recession can be dealt by the public expenditure. When there will be public expenditure, that means that government is going to invest on physical infrastructure. So when physical infrastructure, in order to make physical infrastructure, the government has to employ the labor force. That means employment rate will increase. When employment rate will increase, that people's purchasing power will increase, and increase in purchasing power will lead to increase in aggregate demand. And when there will be increase in aggregate demand, it will lead to aggregate supply. Increase in aggregate supply, producer will increase the supply, and that's why the economic growth can be increased. So this is the, that means whenever there is recession, we seen when there was COVID, the government spent like anything on physical infrastructure. They made roads, they made bridges. Okay, that is known as infrastructure pipeline. Okay, so whenever there is recession, government will always increase the public expenditure, and in order to increase the public expenditure, government has to have the currency, or they should be in position to print the currency. But when we have the fixed exchange rate system, they have the fixed currency, because they cannot print. They can print only when they have gold, or they can print when they have the dollar. Okay, so that was the biggest, that means biggest drawback of fixed exchange rate system, and it was against the that principle of efficiency, that market forces works on efficiency. So we abandoned this system and we came with new system, that is known as flexible exchange rate system. We came with another system that is known as flexible exchange rate system. Please dears, try to understand what is the meaning of flexible exchange rate system. The meaning of flexible exchange rate system is that value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency is being determined by the market forces, that is demand and supply. That means under the flexible exchange rate system, the value of domestic currency, that is rupee, in terms of foreign currency, that may be dollar, that may be pound, that may be euro, that Am I audible now? Cosmos Science, am I audible now? I think I am audible now. Am I audible now? From where voice is not coming? May I know? May I know from where voice is not coming? That means I was not audible. Okay, may I know from where I was not audible? What I was discussing when B people lost audio? Dears, I am requesting you people just to know, I just want to know from where, from what I was discussing when we lost audio, so that I can repeat it. Okay, it is okay, it is coming now, it is okay, okay, it is audible now, it is okay, but okay, leave it. Okay, I just if that means lecture was clear, na, that means it was that audible till now, na, whatever we discussed, it was audible or not? Whatever we have discussed, it was audible or not? Okay, chalo, let's start our discussion. Leave it. We are going to so, my dears, let me remind once again that we are discussing about the floating exchange rate system. We are discussing about the floating exchange rate system. So, when we are discussing about the floating exchange rate system, what is the meaning of this? That value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency is being determined by the market forces, that is demand and supply, okay. So, when there is increase in the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency by the market forces, it is known as appreciation, whereas there is decrease in the value of domestic currency when there is decrease in the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency by the market forces or under the floating exchange rate system, it is known as depreciation. So, I ask you people that these are the that means there is decrease in the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency under the fixed exchange rate system. What it is known to be? I am just asking you people, just answer me in comment section. Anyone? It is known as revaluation. Okay, whereas if there is decrease in the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency under the fixed exchange rate system, it is known as devaluation. Okay, now we are going to discuss that how we are talking about that fixed exchange rate system or not fixed, rather floating exchange rate system. Under the floating exchange rate system, the value is being determined by market forces. So, we are going to discuss that how market forces determine the value and how what is the process and what is the meaning of market forces. We are going to discuss all these things, okay, and I try to depict it with a diagram, Okay, so that means we are going to discuss it with the appreciation or depreciation, appreciation in the value of dollar and appreciation in the value of dollar, sorry, appreciation in dollar can be known as depreciation in rupee, depreciation in rupee. Is it clear? Okay, that means if rupee is depreciating, it means that dollar is appreciating. It's very common. Okay, so we are going to discuss that how there is going to be. So suppose this is the origin, this is origin, and on the x-axis we are going to take the quantity of dollars. Okay, that means we are going to discuss that how the appreciation or how the depreciation of rupee takes place under the floating exchange rate system. Through this figure, I want to explain that how the appreciation of dollar or depreciation of rupee takes place under the floating exchange rate system. For that, on the x-axis we have taken quality of dollars, quantity of dollars, not quality, quantity of dollars. On y-axis we have taken the price of dollar in terms of rupee, in terms of rupee. Suppose, please dears, try to understand that suppose $1 equal to 67 rupees as our example. Okay, now $1 equal to 69 rupees. So this is nothing but depreciation. This is nothing but depreciation in rupee and this is nothing but appreciation in dollar, because the value of dollar has appreciated and value of rupee has depreciated. Okay, so how it happens, and before that, for that let me tell you, let me clear. First let me rub it, then this will happen. Okay, value of dollar will appreciate. When value of dollar will appreciate? When demand of dollar is more than supply of dollar, supply of dollar. Supply of dollar. When there will be, my dears, I am just explaining, when there will be appreciation in the value of dollar, when demand of dollar, when there will be increase, when demand is more than supply, it is natural. When something is being demanded more than whatever supply is there, then there will be increase. We discussed that is nothing but law of demand. Okay, so that means when there will be appreciation in the value of dollar, when demand of dollar is more than supply of dollar. So that means on x-axis, as it is being depicted in the figure, in x-axis we have taken the quantity of dollar and on y-axis we have taken price of dollar in terms of rupee. So suppose, since when there will be, that means as we have discussed in our basic class that according to the law of demand there is inverse relation between the demand and its price, meaning if the price of anything is going to increase, its demand decreases. That's why demand curve is always downward sloping. That's why demand curve is always downward sloping. Okay, since demand curve is always downward sloping, so when we talk about, we depict the demand curve with D1. Okay, and supply, that means what is going to be as y. What we want to say, that when there will be increase in the prices of dollar, its demand will decrease. Demand of dollar will decrease. That's why demand curve is always downward sloping. this is law of demand. That's why demand curve is always downward sloping, which is being depicted in our figure with D1. Okay, since as per the law of supply, there is positive relation between the prices of commodity and its supply, meaning as the supply will increase, so as the dollar price of dollar increase, the supply of dollar will also increase. That's why supply curve is always upward sloping. This is the basic law of economics, and I discussed it. Okay, I discussed it many times. Okay, and I discussed that as per the law of demand, there is negative relation between the prices and quantity demanded. That's why demand curve is always downward sloping, whereas as per the law of supply, there is positive relation between the prices and quantity supplied. That's why supply curve is always upward sloping. Okay, so initially when that means this demand curve is being depicted with D1 and supply curve is being depicted with S. Supply curve is being depicted in our figure with S. Okay, so what is the meaning? What is the appreciation? That means demand has increased but supply has not increased. So whenever there will be increase in demand, demand curve will shift its rightward. We discussed it already when I was discussing. So since there is increase in the demand of the dollar, so demand curve will shift its rightward. So new demand curve is going to be D2. So initially when demand curve was D1, that means equilibrium was being established at point E. That means it was meeting to supply curve at point E, and the prices, that means the exchange rate was determined at rupees 67. Now there is increase in that demand, so that means demand curve is going to shift rightward. So new equilibrium is going to be established at point E2. Since new demand curve is meeting supply curve at E2, therefore the new exchange rate or the prices of dollar is going to be determined in terms of rupee at the level of 69. So this increase in the value of dollar from 69, increase in the value of dollar from 67 to 69 is nothing but appreciation in the value of dollar. This is nothing but appreciation in the value of dollar. Okay, and similarly we can depict the depreciation of rupee as well with the figure of rupee, but it is for you people just to draw it. Okay, if you want to have the concept clarity, I will request you people to draw another figure which is going to depict the depreciation of rupee and how it is going to be. Okay, now we are going to discuss that from where the supply is going to take place and who is going to demand dollar. Supply means who is going to supply the dollar and who is going to demand the dollar. We are going to discuss that how the dollar is going to be demanded and who is going to be a supplier of dollar. So who is going to be supplier? Who will supply the dollar? Exporter. Indian exporter will supply the dollar because they are going to earn dollar by exporting the goods and services. They are going to earn dollar, so they will supply the dollar. Whereas whenever the foreign tourists are going, that means it is nothing but inflow of dollar is nothing but supply of dollar. So when foreign tourist is going to visit India, they will supply the dollar. Another thing, foreign investor, that means when foreign investor is going to invest in India, they will supply the dollar. Whereas foreign remittance, whatever remittance is going to come into India, they will also supply the dollar. Who will demand the dollar? Importer will demand the dollar. They will supply the rupee and they will demand the dollar. Importer, in order to import, they will demand the dollar. and Indian tourist, that means any Indian tourist is going to visit the foreign country, they will demand the dollar. Similarly, Indian investor, when Indian investor is going to invest in foreign country, they will also demand the dollar. Similarly, withdraw of foreign investment, that will also demand the dollar. So that means this demand has increased more than supply, then there will be appreciation in the value of dollar, and that is nothing but depreciation in rupee. So how the value is being determined under the floating exchange rate system, we discussed it. Now we are going to proceed further, and we are going to discuss little fast, because we already collapsed the time, elapsed the time. So what is going to be, that means under the advantages, that government is required to keep the reserves under the flexible exchange rates regime. Other is it resolves the so what is it resolves the problem of overvaluation and undervaluation. Overvaluation and undervaluation, it promotes the capital formation in foreign currency, it improves the resource allocation efficiency, we discussed. And now we are going to discuss the disadvantages. We are going to discuss the disadvantages. So that means it encourages the currency speculation, okay, it economy stability and coordination becomes inconvenient. As a result, coordination of microeconomy, because there is instability or volatility, because it is going to be decided on the basis of market forces, demand and supply. So there is going to be volatility. Since there is going to be volatility, so the macroeconomic policy cannot be there cannot be stability in the macroeconomic policy, and there is uncertainty which hampers the economic growth. Okay, now we are going to focus on managed float. Okay, so please try to understand what is the meaning of managed float. Let me tell you the managed float. What is the meaning of managed float? Managed float means that under the managed float, the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency is being determined by the market forces only, but subjected to intervention by the central monetary authority if there is too much fluctuation in the value of domestic currency. I am going to repeat once again. Under the managed float system, the value is being determined by the market forces only, but if there is too much fluctuation, that means the value of domestic currency is going to be appreciated too much or going to be depreciated too much, then RBI will intervene. Not directly, but indirectly. How RBI will intervene? That if there is depreciation in the currency, depreciation in value of rupee, what it means? It is appreciation in value of dollar. So why appreciation in the value of dollar? Because demand is more than supply. Demand of dollar is more than supply of dollar. So what RBI will do? RBI will infuse the dollar in the market from forex reserves. We are following managed float exchange system. India is following managed float exchange rate system, and it is known as dirty managed float exchange rate system. We will discuss, don't worry. But before that, let me tell you that what is managed float. Managed float means that the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency is being determined by the market forces only, that is demand and supply only. Okay, but if there is too much fluctuation, meaning if there is too much appreciation or depreciation in the value of domestic currency, then RBI will intervene. RBI will intervene not directly but indirectly. How indirectly? We try to understand that. Okay, what is that? Suppose there is depreciation, too much depreciation in the value of rupee. There is too much depreciation. So depreciation in value of rupee is nothing. We can say that appreciation in the value of dollar. And why there is appreciation in the value of dollar? Because demand of dollar is more than supply of dollar. Peoples are making more demand. That means importer is making demand. Okay, that means Indian tourists are making demand. There is withdrawal of the forex, withdrawal of foreign investment. Okay, that's why demand of dollar is more than supply of dollar. If demand of the dollar is more than supply of dollar, how RBI is going to intervene? RBI has to increase the supply of dollar. How RBI will increase? RBI will infuse the dollar in the market. RBI will infuse from where? From their forex reserve. That means we are having the BOP surplus now, and whatever surplus we have, it becomes the part of forex reserves. So we have huge forex reserves. So when there is depreciation, that means the demand of dollar, that when there is depreciation in rupee, meaning there is demand of dollar is more than supply of dollar. That means the RBI has to infuse the dollar in the market. And from where RBI will infuse the dollar from the market? From the forex reserve. Okay. On the other hand, if there is appreciation, in the value of rupee, what it determines? That there is depreciation in the value of dollar. And why there is depreciation? Because demand of dollar is less than supply of dollar. That supply has increased, supply of dollar has increased than demand. That means there is too much dollar in the market. There is too much dollar in the market. So how RBI will do? RBI will suck out the extra dollars, okay, through the open market operation, that is known as market stabilization scheme. We discussed it when we were discussing monetary policy, meaning there is too much dollars in the market, there is extra dollars in the market. So RBI need to suck out the extra dollars. And how RBI will suck out the extra dollar from the market, and they will make it the part of forex reserves. So that is the managed float. Managed float means in normal conditions, the value of domestic currency in terms of foreign currency is being determined by the market forces only. But if there is too much fluctuation, meaning there is too much appreciation or there is too much depreciation in the value of rupee, then RBI will intervene. RBI will intervene not directly, indirectly, either infusing the dollar in the market or by sucking out the dollar from the market. That is known as managed float. That is known as managed float exchange rate system. And in case of India, we are following dirty float, dirty managed float. What is the meaning of dirty managed float? Meaning that under the dirty float managed exchange rate system, RBI is going to fix the upper limit, upper band, lower band of exchange rate and upper band of exchange rate. Okay, RBI is going to fix the lower band of exchange rate and upper band of exchange rate. If it is like this, that RBI will not intervene. If it is like this or this, the RBI will intervene, because it is crossing the upper band, and this upper band is periodically revised. Under the dirty float, what is the case? That there can be two type of, leave it, that under the managed float, there we are following dirty float. Okay, so the dirty float exchange rate system, what is the meaning of it? Dirty float exchange rate system means under that system, the RBI fix the lower band of the exchange rate and upper band of exchange rate. If the value of rupee appreciate or depreciate or lie in between the band, then RBI will not intervene. If there is, that means the exchange rate is going to violate these limits, either going to be down or going to be up, then RBI will intervene, not directly, indirectly. That is known as dirty float. And this upper band under the dirty float is periodically revised. periodically revised upward. Okay, that means earlier we were decided this is the lower limit, this is upper limit. After some period we are going to decide, we are going to revise the upper band, this may be the upper band. After some time it may be the upper band, after some time it may be the upper band. So that means upper band is going to be revised periodically. Okay, and when upper band is not going to be revised, it is known as steady float. Okay, so leave it. So that means this I have depicted it with vigor. Okay, if there is any doubt, let me know, otherwise we are going to finish it. If there is any doubt, let me know. Thank you very much dears, thanks a lot. And to get the PDF of this lecture, just join my Telegram group, Pradeep sir textbook. Thank you sir, thank you dears, thanks a lot. We stop here, thank you.